So, I was sitting there at home wondering what my next video would be. I've been brainstorming for hours and then suddenly it came to me. I love shitting on movies, so why don't I try to find the shittiest movie of all time? I started researching and I quickly stumbled across this bad boy, Disaster Movie. I was instantly drawn into it by its 1.9 IMDb rating and 1% Rotten Tomatoes, which could only mean one thing: greatness. I knew this was the video I'd been waiting for. However, I knew this couldn't just be a one-off video. The worst movie can't just be decided with one movie. It'll take months, maybe even years. Perhaps a series. Yes, in this new series, I will be attempting to find the worst movie ever made. For now, let's just call it the worst of the worst. But please, if you have any suggestions as to what I could call this series, please leave them down in the comments. Now, with the background information all set up, I was finally ready to sit down and watch Disaster Movie. So let's get into it. I was really nervous before watching this movie. Like, I had chills running down my spine, because how couldn't I? 1.9 on IMDb. I was afraid this movie might actually be worse than the Star Wars prequels. Guys, I'm joking. Please don't attack me again. I can't handle it. Alright, right from the fucking beginning, the weirdest title crawl you've ever seen. Bad CGI of the Earth, it has some kind of sci-fi feeling, and then BAM! Explosion. What? I mean, it sets up the title pretty well. That shot was a disaster. So the first scene starts off with him just running through the forest, and I'm like, okay, this can't be that bad. How can it possibly be horrible, right? But then he's running from something and then suddenly he jumps for an unexplainable reason and a massive hairy foot steps on him into a pile of shit. And then the shit is gone. Okay. Then he gets attacked by some dude who calls himself Woof.
Hi, I'm Rye, founder and your first friend on Woof.com.
And they fight in the most unexhilarating and poorly choreographed fight I've ever seen. Then he hits Woof in the penis, ha ha ha, funny joke, and runs off. Oh, but that's not it. Then he runs into some girl who's supposed to be Amy Winehouse in 10,000 BC. Okay, so she has this horrible British accent topped only by the performance. And haha, they make some addict joke about how she drinks gasoline. Top quality humor. She tells him that the world will end on August 29th, 2008. So yeah, I guess that's the plot of the movie. Then she drinks a bottle of who knows what. I certainly don't, cause I'm a Christian boy and don't drink. And burps at him for like 10 seconds and then burps an additional 14 times. Yes, I counted. The only thing that would make the scene less funny is a fucking laugh track. And then he wakes up in modern time. What a fucking scene. Pure filmmaking genius. Now, if you thought it couldn't get worse than that first scene, well then so far, you're right. It hasn't. This next scene is just our boy, I don't really know his name yet, who apparently doesn't want to date his girlfriend but gets mad that she sucked some other man's dick in the same bed as them. And honestly, I don't know what I just said. He tells her the world is ending and that she should go to sweet 16th birthday. Yeah, I know, what a correlation. And she leaves the room with a midget. I definitely follow the plot so far. And then out of nowhere, the weird music video of this invitation to his Sweet 16 comes up, and I'm actually lost for words. They don't refer to this ever again. It's just random, and honestly brings me back to my Hannah Montana phase. So the party scene is, let's just say it, not quite exceptional. It's just a bit lacking in story, acting, dialogue, cinematography, music, editing, props, acting again, direction, coffee making, comedy, and pretty much everything that makes a movie, well, a movie. Anton Chigurh, for some reason, comes and kills a sleeping person, and the typical black comedy relief character started crying, and I actually chuckled a bit, intentionally, but not a lot. Let's see how many more of those there are. Then the black guy has a vision of two girls wrestling, which is actually pretty fun, but I can't show any of it because I don't want to get terminated, even though that would definitely please some of you. Then there's a super bad reference where a black dude kills a random woman, and fuck me, I need some story in this. But then out of the gates of heaven came something I wasn't expecting in this movie at all. Character development. The protagonist has commitment issues because his parents split up and he never really met his dad. It may be cliche and completely underdeveloped and shoved to the side almost immediately with some High School Musical song. But at least they tried. And yay for trying. Unless you're Yoda, then no. Holy fuck, there's so much singing. I hate it. I don't necessarily have an ear for pitch and notes and singing, I guess, but my eardrums are shattering from this cluster. Why do they sing so much? Then, conveniently after the song ends, an earthquake commences and the news broadcaster announces the end of the world. And everyone goes fucking apeshit, and we see meteors, more earthquaking, everything fucking freezes for some reason. And I think now's a good time to talk about the special effects of this movie, because we all know the visual and practical effects are vital in a good disaster movie, as the main draw of these types of movies is the death and destruction that's caused by these massive, beautiful spectacles. But no, none of that here. It just looks bad. I mean, I could say something more descriptive, but no, it's just bad. And they even had a budget of $20 million. I could make something look better than this with $20 million. And I've never made effects in my life, other than my own Saw movies, but that's for another time. This movie is so unfunny, it hurts. This whole random fight scene that happens instead of the characters actually reacting to this dire situation they're in, and perhaps actually giving us information about the characters. Because no, instead we have a kung fu fight where a pregnant lady uses her unborn child to fight. This movie is funny. Then they decide to finally stay in the garage thingy overnight, and yes lord, it's time for some subtlety. Nope, just kidding. He has a dream about how he messed things up with his girlfriend, but trust me, it's not as deep as it sounds. It's just him skipping through time and space for some reason, being a pervert, and then getting stabbed by Prince Caspian from Narnia. I don't really know what to tell you guys, it's just unnecessary. Woo, yes! They're actually trying. He made a mistake, he's realized his truth, he's fulfilling his character arc. Now I know this is very rushed, and while there's no build-up to this revelation at all, but hey, I'm looking for the truly worst movie of all time, and at least this one's kinda trying. Even if only momentarily. Oh my god guys, he finally said it. He told her he loves her. And it's only 30 minutes into the movie. There are still 2/3 of the movie left and he's already changed to loving her. Now if that isn't quick pacing, I don't know what is. That's a bad thing though. However, for some reason the call doesn't work and she can't respond and the greatest image ever in any movie shows up. I don't understand how someone's mind can be so clinically masterful. No, but in all honesty, this is arguably the worst shit I've ever seen in a film. It's so horrifically bad, and I'm just wondering why is it needed? Holy fuck, I'm gonna have an aneurysm from this. Then he decides to go save his girl, even after calling her a bitch, but okay, I guess that's kinky. However, some girl called Lisa, who I guess we were supposed to care about, gets murked and everyone is sad. In spite of all this doom and gloom in our world today, I was really hoping to finally feel some human emotions again, but nope. Holy fuck, guys. Nothing that has happened in the past 20 minutes have been enjoyable in any shape or form. Just a shit ton of bad acting, over-the-top references that try to create a cheap laugh. It's so boring that I almost fell asleep on multiple occasions. I can deal with horrific humor, acting and directing, if it's enjoyable. If I can laugh at how bad something is, then it has given me enjoyment. And it's not a complete shitfest. And yeah, since I was reacting to this movie so much in the beginning, shows that it did have a redeeming quality. Even if it was just at how hilariously bad it was. But then it just became dull. Without the humorous garbage this movie was producing, it truly is just shit. These past 20 minutes, I've gotten no enjoyment. None. This is really pulling this movie down. However, now they finally found his girlfriend, so let's hope it picks up just a little bit. Nope, it's over, and I got fuck all out of that. Essentially, Will, yeah, I finally figured out his name, rescued his girlfriend, his friends were killed by Po from Kung Fu Panda, and him and his girlfriend brought the crystal skull back to the altar, and the end of the world was ended. What? Then they got married, and the movie ended with a song. A song! Not even a good song. I hate this so much. You don't even know. You know why High School Musical worked so well? Because the music was good, and well, it was a musical. This isn't. Whoever's idea it was to do this probably didn't get a job after this. Wait. Kim Kardashian is in this? I didn't even notice. Well, she's not a very good actor then. Alright, so that was a 1.5 very long hours of my life that I'll never get back. But, was it worth it? Well, absolutely fucking no. Yes, I enjoyed the first third, for reasons that weren't even intentional by the filmmakers. I enjoyed laughing at the shitty dialogue, the over-the-top acting, the completely omitted story and plotline, the completely unneeded songs and fight scenes, the awful CGI. But yeah, nothing about this movie is good. But that's what made it good. Until it got old. Until I got tired of it. I can only laugh so much at the same thing again and again before it gets repetitive. And yes, even though that first third of the movie was fun to me personally, which gives it just a little bit of good marks for me, isn't necessarily a good thing. The only reason it was kind of funny to me in the beginning was that I was just memeing in my head the whole time. It's honestly not a very good movie, and I can definitely understand why it has a 1.9 on IMDb and 1% on Rotten Tomatoes. But even with all the shit I've said about it, there's still so much more to talk about. The acting in this movie ranges from child-made horror movie level of emotional range to complete static and emotionless. Amazing acting isn't necessarily vital in a good movie, if the story is amazing. But it isn't here. Typical of a comedy movie, the dialogue isn't always great, but the charisma of the actors makes the movie funny. But not here. These actors either have no connection to comedy in their lives at all, or the director pushed them into such unfunny and lifeless scenes that no matter how quirky or charismatic they may have been, it was all trapped inside their bodies for all eternity. Another thing that pisses me off so much about this movie is how it's constantly trying to be self-conscious, but not being so. Oh, ha ha ha, look at her, she's so modern and uses acronyms to speak, that's so funny. Just honestly, it's not. A character doesn't give us any message if the character isn't good to begin with. Give her some real qualities. Why is she like this? Oh, so this just comes out of nowhere? There had just been an earthquake, something exciting in the plot could have happened, and then this shit comes instead, having no purpose at all. It just ruins any pacing this movie may have had, and countless other mistakes like this just bombard this movie, which overall hurts any structure it possibly could have had. What is this? Why? What does this bring to the movie? You're lucky this horrible effect doesn't ruin the movie, because it's already ruined. This movie also just tries to be funny all the fucking time. You can clearly see that there was no room for improv, that the writers had written their hilarious dialogue and just kept with it. Listen, buddies, get some friends to peer review your writing. It'll make it so much better. I really can't believe the people behind Scary Movie are behind this monstrosity. What a fall from grace. So, do I think this is the worst movie of all time? I don't know. I haven't seen all of them. But it's bad. There's no denying it. If I were to rate this movie on a scale of 1 to 10, actually that's too vague. On a scale of 1 to 100, what do I rate this movie? I'll say a 5. It made me chuckle at times, which on extremely rare occasions was intentional. But yeah, no, nothing works in this movie. It's beyond messy, all the creative details are performed carelessly, there's no heart or soul poured into it. I really think this movie is a contender for the worst movie ever made. At least it's the worst movie I've ever watched, by far. I now understand its horrible critical acclamations, and honestly, disaster movie? Well, it's a disaster. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it and you want more like this, then be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. If you have any more movies that you think could potentially rival this movie, then be sure to tell me down in the comments. I want this series to be yours as well as mine. Anyways, I hope you all stay safe from Corona, and peace out.